We've all been taught these ideas of who we marry. We either marry our best friend, Prince Charming, or the knight in shining armor, and that these are the ideal ways to do life. So we dream these big dreams about finding the perfect man, your best friend, someone that you've grown up with or that you went to college with or high school with or, you know. And I mean, these are all great things, right? But it doesn't always end up this way. As I've kind of gotten to the age of wanting to settle down and start a family, I've been thinking about these ideas more and more. And I can't think of one person who's ever been my knight in shining armor, my Prince Charming, or even my best friend, someone that I would want to live the rest of my life with as my life partner. And the idea of marriage is exciting and it's beautiful, but it's scary at the same time too. Like, what if I marry the wrong person just because I'm wanting to settle, right? So many young people are settling for relationships with little to no commitment. I mean, we're seeing a rise in live in boyfriends and girlfriends. I mean, it's always been a thing, but it's huge now. And I know it's in some cultures, it's not even, like, something that we even think of, right? And I know in the Hispanic culture, that's not something that we do often, it's not something that you see. Um, but these people are getting the benefits of having a husband or a wife without any of the full commitment. This could end any second, and that's it, no? It's done. The relationship is over. And you see when we give all of ourselves to someone who isn't wanting to commit, someone who's not just, but someone who's essentially your husband, common law. Like if you live with this person long enough, like we see these 10-year relationships, people are living together. We see these long, long relationships where these people live together and then they decide to get married and then the relationship is over within a year and a half to 2 years, which is ridiculous. Like you spent all this time together and then you'd finally decide to fully commit and then it's over. So many people are quote unquote falling in love with their best friend only to end up in these lust filled love relationships with it's not really, and they end up finding out it's not really what they were looking for. And I'm not saying these people don't have love for each other, but it's not the kind of love they expected. I mean, they've lived together for all these years already and then they get married and then they find out, "Oh, this isn't what I was thinking this was going to be like." I mean, I thought I knew this person. We lived together for so many years, and now that they're mine exclusively, they're not the same person anymore. No, they change. Or it's they realize that you realize that they aren't what you were looking for. I was talking to my sister, my best friend, the other day, and we were talking about how crazy finding someone online is, even though she found her husband online. But that's like a diamond in a rough situation. Like it's not always something that's going to happen. It's not a perfect science, right? But and these two are truly a match made in heaven for each other. But there are so many people, including myself, putting ourselves out there only to get our hearts broken for a couple weeks of a relationship or a couple months of a relationship. And we were talking about how when we put ourselves into these situations, we're essentially setting ourselves up for failure. Like, I'm setting myself up for failure being on all these Christian dating apps and websites and things, looking for someone that I don't know what I'm looking for. Like, I'm looking for someone, but I don't know what I'm looking for, only to end up in a relationship where I know I'm not supposed to be in, to end up in heartbreak. And it sucks because when you get married, you want to be able to give your person your whole heart. But when you end a relationship, that person takes a little bit of your heart with them when they go. So we were talking about the idea the idea of arranged marriages. I know, crazy, barbaric, something that's ancient that shouldn't happen anymore. But hear me out, okay? Arranged marriages, you're marrying someone you don't know. Like, you're essentially marrying a stranger. You know this person's name, and that's about it. You don't know what they look like, you don't know what their family is like, but whoever set you guys up, who arranged this marriage, knows what you guys are like, what your families are like, and that you guys will be the perfect match. And this comes back to the idea of marrying your best friend, right? Okay, so you marry a perfect stranger. And the beautiful thing about marrying this perfect stranger is that not only do they get you at where you are now, but you're getting them where they are now too, right? And you guys get to grow together on a fresh, brand new foundation because you guys have no history. There's absolutely no history uh, between the two of you. And not only do you get to fall in love with this person, but you build that relationship from the ground up and you build your best friend. You guys are building that relationship together, right? And it's such a beautiful thing. There's this movie called Fiddler on the Roof, and it's a Jewish movie. I believe it's based out of Russia. Long, long movie. They have this whole thing about matchmakers, and all of the daughters, most of their daughters were matched by the village matchmaker, and the parents also are a result of matchmaking. And somewhere in the middle, close to the end of the movie, the parents are talking, and they're talking about, like, the mom asked the dad, the wife asked the husband, "Do you love me?" And or he asked her, "Do you love me?" And she was like, "Well, I cook for you, I clean for you, I do this, that, and the other for you." And he's like, "But do you love me?" She was like, "Why do I have to tell you that I love you? I do everything for you," right? So they have this special bond, this relationship where she shouldn't have to say she loves him, and he doesn't she not shouldn't. She doesn't have to tell him that she loves him because she fully committed herself on their wedding day to make him happy, and vice versa. He fully committed himself to making her happy on their wedding day as well. So they have this bond, they have this relationship where they're not questioning whether, oh, does he love, like, they don't need to question whether they love me or they love me not anymore. They're not having to pick petals, right? Because it's a sure thing. They've been together for years and years and years and years. You can tell they're in love, you can tell they're best friends by the way they interact with each other and their banter and everything, and it's like, that's what I want. That's the kind of relationship I want. I I don't mind the idea of having to build from the ground up, right? If it worked in Bible times, it's worked in Indian cultures for many, many a century. Why can't it work still today? That's my rant for the day.